3 weeks ago, I set out to heal my eczema naturally within 3 weeks. And today I can confidently say I didn't once use a topical steroid treatment that I was prescribed, and my eczema is nearly completely gone. I have one patch that's like hanging on, but it's improving every single day, and it's like just on the cusp of being totally gone. Most of my other spots are completely gone. My skin overall just feels like so much healthier. I just feel so good about it. I made a video at the start of this just sharing and outlining the things that I was gonna do, and I figured we could kind of recap and I could share what I actually did, what I actually stuck with, and what I think really helped. So let's dive into it. I had broken this down into topical, internal, and then lifestyle. And in topical, I had set out to take a bath every single day with Epsom salt and apple cider vinegar. And I stuck with this, and I noticed a big improvement from doing this. It also just was like so relaxing and so good for the nervous system to take a bath every day. 1 week I did not do this because I had family in town and it just didn't work out to like set aside the time to get in the bath. I'd rather spend it with them. So I did it for 2 weeks instead of the full 3 weeks, but I did take a bath pretty much every day of those 2 weeks. And I'd noticed a big difference when I would get out, that the redness was significantly lower. And then after I took a bath or a shower, I would put on calendula ointment, and I did that pretty much every single day. And I didn't put it on just right after the bath, but I put it on a couple times throughout the day. And I've missed a few days, but I've been very consistently doing that. And again, it's just so soothing, and I can tell a difference the next day after a day of being consistent with that the patches would be less dry, less red, less irritated. And then the last thing that I did topically was that I made my own body oil that I would put on morning and night, and then in the middle of the day I would just put on lotion. So I'd be applying some sort of moisturizing agent at least twice, if not 3 to 4 times a day, and not just on the spots but truly my whole body. The body oil was so nourishing, and I make it for my face, so it was just fitting to make it for my whole body. It has tamanu oil, castor oil, jojoba oil, and then a little bit of squalene to just help lock in the moisture. I've actually run out and need to make some more, and I didn't have enough of all the oil, so I made an oil that's a little bit lighter, and that's what I've been putting on in the morning, which is just jojoba oil and sweet almond oil, and then a little bit of squalene, and it just absorbs a little bit faster so that I can put it on in the morning and then put my clothes on not long after. And then internally, I set out to eat a lot more beans and beans away from fat to help mop up any toxins or whatever might be causing this internally. I ended up only doing 1 dose of beans a day first thing in the morning. I never found a way to like filter it in at another point in my day. So I want to get on a routine of doing that so that I can just help keep this at bay. But I think that just doing the 1 dose, which is 2 tablespoons in the morning, did make a difference. And I definitely feel better when I'm doing that. Overall, I feel like less bloated. I feel like everything just feels like good in my body when I'm doing that, even just 1 dose of beans. I eat a lot of beans throughout the rest of the day, but I do eat them with fat, so I'm still eating a lot of beans, but not away from fats, which is the ideal way that I want to do it. Then I've been taking a supplement of nettles and quercetin. I think that really makes a difference. I ran out and there's not a store near me that I could get it, so I'd gone without it for a couple days, and I just noticed that like my seasonal allergies, which I hadn't had, like picked back up when I went without it. So I will definitely be continuing that, and I noticed a big difference. I set out to drink a minimum of 64 ounces of water every day, which I did not do. I probably drink 40 ideally, maybe 32 ounces, so around half of my amount. Some days I hit it. Drinking water is so hard for me for some reason. Even especially living at altitude, I should be drinking water nonstop, but I found that really challenging. So that's something that I want to work on overall, because you gotta hydrate from the inside out. And I'm not definitely hydrating from the inside out. And then the last thing that I set out to do was to drink 1 glass of some sort of anti-inflammatory tea every single day, which maybe peppermint, ginger, rooibos, something of that nature. I did this probably half of the time. I find that at the end of the day, which is when I want to drink it, I'm like, I don't want to drink that much because then I'm going to be up all night going to the bathroom. So I haven't figured out how to work it into my routine, but I do drink a glass of CCF tea in the morning, which is cumin, coriander, and fennel, which is also just great at like detoxing the body. So I am getting something in, but I wanted to add an additional thing, and that is something that, again, I'd like to add in to continue to keep this at bay. And then the last thing that I did that I didn't talk about in the last video is that I take Chinese herbs that my Chinese medicine provider formulates for me. And I saw my Chinese medicine doctor about a week into starting this overall protocol, and at that appointment he changed my formula around. I started taking those herbs about a week and a half into this experiment, and I noticed the biggest change once I started taking those herbs. So if you can work with a Chinese medicine provider who specifically works with herbs, it might be like your biggest saving grace, because I feel like that is really addressing the internal things, and that is his whole thing. Let's address the root cause, and I feel like these herbs are helping to get to that. And I noticed the biggest improvement, and I continue to see that. I did let him know that like the spots are definitely decreasing, but I do have this one that's lingering, so I'm increasing my dose a little bit, and I started that new dose yesterday. So we'll see, it might be gone by the time you see this video, and that would be amazing. Okay, and then the last couple things were lifestyle, which was to do the big 6, which is to just move your lymphatic system, and I stayed very consistent with that. I would do it before I would get on the shake plate, which was another thing that I had set out to do to just help move the lymph. And when I was doing the lymph, I also remembered that we have a little single like red light, and I pointed that at the spot while I was on the shake plate. So I was just getting targeted red light therapy for 15 minutes. I will link that red light below because it's super affordable and it's great to like put on target areas. We got it actually for Kyle's scalp healing and just like getting that red light penetrating on his scalp and hopefully going into that big beautiful brain of his. And I've been putting those on the spots, and it seems to make some sort of a difference. It's just a nice feeling. It's hard to know what exactly worked, but I think it's a combination of all of the things. And the last couple things were to sauna, which I haven't sauna once, so that was not part of the thing. It was to sauna 3 days a week. I haven't sauna once since I set out on this quest, so that is not contributing to this. Along with castor oil packs, I have not been consistent with that. I did just start doing navel castor oil packs because it's like so much easier and it's less messy. So we'll see if that makes a difference. I just literally started it yesterday, so I'm not going to see a difference yet. And then I also wanted to walk 10,000 steps every day, which I did not do. I definitely did it like the first few days and then just like had some really lazy days and like forgot where I put my pedometer, so I have no idea how many steps I did. So that also was not something that's contributing to this. And then lastly, I did stay consistent with working out 5 to 6 days a week, which has been very consistent for weeks and weeks and weeks, even prior to this experiment. So I knew that that wasn't necessarily helping the eczema improve, so I wouldn't factor this in. But exercise is great because it's helping move the lymph and move everything. So I think it's probably playing some role, but it's not the overall thing that's helping to get this eczema to go away. But it is improving. I feel very confident, and I'm actually heading to see my dermatologist right now, and I'm gonna let you know what she says. I'm a little bit nervous, but also like excited to be like, yeah, those spots are gone, and I can say, and I healed it naturally. It's healing naturally. So let's go see my dermatologist. Well, that went better than I expected. She was so pleasantly surprised. She was like, my spots look so much better. And I told her I didn't use the prescription at all, and she was like, honestly, I'm glad you didn't have to, and really just keep it in your back pocket if you have a really severe outbreak. But right now we're going into like the most moisture rich season of the year, and so hopefully, you know, your eczema kind of stays at bay. The real test will be come the fall/winter when it's when it gets colder and drier. So I'm just gonna continue what I'm doing, and then she is gonna run some blood panels because I did mention that I'm having a little bit of hair loss. So we're gonna check like all the blood related things and hormone panel and go from there. And then she also recommended a shampoo because I do have like a really dry scalp and I get dandruff, and that might be causing some of the hair loss, but I don't really want to use a prescription shampoo. So if you have recommendations for a shampoo that addresses like the fungus that builds up on the scalp which causes dandruff, please let me know. And I have these little red like spots on my face because I found out that I have rosacea at my last appointment. I found that out, and they're never going to go away unless I get them laser removed. And so I asked her about that, and thankfully it's not like terribly expensive, but it's not covered by insurance. It's $35 to do like across the nose and like my whole like cheeks, and or 350, is that what I said? 350, and it's like a once a year kind of thing because I have pretty mild rosacea. So I'm thinking I might go for it, not right now because craziness, but I'm thinking I want to try it and see if it helps the redness and these spots. I just want to feel like really confident in my skin, and my complexion I feel like is getting more and more sensitive the older I get. I did also ask like just overall skincare, and just like the best thing you can do is avoid the sun, wear sunscreen, wear a sun hat. Like you could try a retinol, but I have such sensitive skin that it's probably gonna react, and like is it really worth it? So I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. Wear a sun hat, get some sunscreen, and she did recommend like if you have very sensitive prone skin, eczema, rosacea skin, mineral sunscreen is the way to go, and it has to be unfragranced. So I'm feeling really confident and just need to keep taking care of my skin. So if you want to see all the things that I'm doing, you can watch this video right here, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I love you. I hope that you're having a beautiful, beautiful day, and I will talk to you so very soon. Bye.